So, I thought I would treat myself to a week off work. I immediately got sick, and then my channel got hacked. The lesson here, never rest.
That's not the lesson.
Never rest.
No.
We're back, baby!
Hey, I'm the Book Guy, and my channel recently got hacked. Let me tell you a little bit about what happened, how it happened, and hopefully how to prevent it from happening to you. I feel like everyone deserves an explanation on this. The first thing I want to address is that most people will naturally assume if my channel got hacked, I must have done something wrong. I mustn't have had good enough security. I must have clicked on something or opened an email. In response, I say no, no, and no. I did none of those things. My data was leaked. I don't know if you know this, but Google had a massive data breach on the 25th of June and lost quite literally 16 billion email addresses and passwords. You may be very surprised to hear that because you've heard nothing about it. That's because Google has said nothing about it. Google, Facebook, and Apple were all part of this massive data breach, what people are calling the biggest data breach in history. Neither of these three companies have acknowledged it in any way or put out any statement. It's been 2 weeks since then, and they still haven't notified people. This information came from Forbes and a couple of other independent journalists who've actually informed us about this. It is very frustrating that these giant corporations are not taking responsibility. I was very aware that Mike from Mike's Books Reviews got hacked over a year ago. That is literally my worst fear. I think about that incident all the time, and I was very cautious of it happening to me. I had all the security in place for this very reason. Let's go through the timeline of what happened. First thing I want to let you know is that I did have two-step verification set up, and I did have an account recovery email set up as well, and the hackers got right past it. The timeline of this was that I was very sick. I was actually having a nap in the afternoon because I wasn't feeling very well. I woke up from my nap and I had 9 notifications on my phone. And the 9 notifications were that someone had attempted to log into my email, someone had logged into my email, someone had changed my password, someone had added a phone number to the two-step verification, they'd added a second phone number to the two-step verification, they had removed my phone number from the two-step verification, they had removed my email from the email account recovery and added a new one. And at that point, I stopped getting notifications. What's curious about this is that all 9 of these notifications occurred at 5:47. They all had the same timestamp. It is humanly impossible to make that many adjustments to an account in that short of a time. This was a program. So it wasn't just some hacker who got hold of my details. This was quite literally a program that was very sophisticated and was able to get past all these steps.
Something I should add here, many people who lose a channel do it because they clicked on an email or replied to an email. I actually had a different email for my account. I didn't actually use it for emails anymore. I'd set up a different one since then. The email that my channel was attached to was completely obsolete. I only checked that inbox once a week just in case something went there by accident, but it was totally not in use. So I can literally guarantee that the hack was not because I clicked on anything.
Many of you will ask, did you have passkeys? No, I didn't know passkeys were a thing. We'll talk about that shortly, but there were more steps I could have taken to be more secure, which I wasn't aware of, but I am now. I could not get in contact with anyone to get my account back. Google and YouTube are terrible at information like this. I was able to learn from Mike's book reviews when he talked about this, where he quite literally tweeted at YouTube team to get a response. It's literally how I did it as well. It's awful that that's how you have to do it, but apparently that's the only way I could find. I literally had to create a X account just for this. Do you know how much misinformation I saw just for looking at that homepage for like 2 seconds? How dare they make me do that? But while I was waiting for this, my account did start a live stream. It was this god-awful video. It was an AI video of Trump announcing a new cryptocurrency. Yes, AI, Trump, and crypto, my 3 most hated things. I'm kidding, of course. My 3 most hated things are Nazis, pedophiles, and religiously justified prejudice. Oh, look, those are all Trump too. Hey! I'm a bit salty that his face was on my channel, but anyway. That streamed for about 11 minutes. Coincidentally, dozens of other, well, I don't know how many other channels, a lot of other channels were streaming the same thing at the same time, because a lot of channels all got hacked as part of this data breach. After about 11 minutes, YouTube took down the live stream and suspended every single account. This also meant that when I was trying to get my account recovered, the recovery time was abysmal. I know when Mike from Mike's Books Reviews did this, it took him about 24 hours. It took me 4 days. And what happened is every single time YouTube or the Google team would send me a message, oh, let's do this next step, I would reply, and then it would take maybe 3 hours, maybe 12 hours. The longest was 18 hours before they responded with the next step. And there was nothing else I could actually do about it in the meantime other than wait and care for my mental health. But long story short, I was able to get my email account back and my YouTube account back. I'm still waiting for a couple of changes to take effect. I think all my playlists went down and a couple of videos are missing. But literally, again, just got to wait a couple of days until the YouTube team fixes all that. We'll get on that. Now, let me give you some practical advice on how to actually prevent this. So with Google security, no one talks about this. And let me just put it in layman's terms. Of course, you have your password. That's your obvious first step. But then your next 2 backup steps, which are really important, is your 2-step verification, where if someone logs into your email account on a new device, you have to approve it on an existing device. So most people set it up on their phone. I had that. That should have been good enough, but the hackers got past it. If you have 2-step verification, it will protect you from some random guy with his laptop or some creepy stalker online, but it won't stop sophisticated attacks. It's still worth having, but you got to do the other steps as well. The second thing I had was an account recovery email where I had a second email linked that could recover my first one if it was hacked. Again, the hackers got right past that because they changed it all within the same minute of logging in, even though I don't even know. But there are 2 other things that you can do, and if I had known about this, I would have done it. If you're a business owner or a YouTuber, you should absolutely do these next 2 steps. The first of those is passkeys. Okay, so a password is an access to your account, which can get you into any device, on the planet. A passkey only works on one device. And that's what actually makes it really effective. Because if someone stole my passkey, it wouldn't matter unless they actually got hold of my laptop and used it on that. That's the great thing about them. Seriously, just as a people, as a culture, we need to transition away from using passwords and start using passkeys that are selected to only one device. They're so much more secure. Someone would have to steal your device and hack you at the same time. And hackers are just lazy. They're not going to do that. But if the passkey doesn't work, you do have account recovery codes. This is another thing I set up. So they're big, long 8-digit codes that are generated. They're one-time use, which is really effective. And Google strongly says when you set one up to print them off. So again, it's something physical. So if someone hacks you, you've got something physical that they can't get a hold of. So I've literally got printed and filed account recovery codes as well. If I had a passkey or an account recovery code set up, I might have been able to recover my account once it was hacked, but I'm honestly not sure. It was a pretty sophisticated attack. It got past, 2-step verification and account recovery. It might have gotten past the other 2, or it might not have. I'm honestly not sure, but I still strongly recommend setting those extra steps up as well, especially if you're a business owner. Now, let me just get political for a second here. You see, Google stuffed up. On the 25th of June, they lost 16 billion passwords. If they had sent me an email and said, hey, we lost your password, I would have changed my password and saved my account and saved myself a whole lot of stress and worry, not to mention loss of income. Google did not do that because Google is a giant corporation which is not held accountable to any law or man or government. And this is a bigger problem that we are facing in our society. We do have giant corporations that are so powerful and have so much wealth that people don't hold them accountable if they do something wrong. This is very true for things like Kohl's or Nestle or Amazon, companies that can kind of do whatever they want. But it's extra nefarious when we're talking about tech companies. You guys need to know technology is developing faster than we can write laws to keep it ethical. That's the dangerous thing about this situation. We have tipped the scale. We can't keep up with laws. There are a lot of AI things that are possible and legal only because they're being used now before any laws can be written about it. Because, lawmakers and politicians and lawyers, they take time, or they're just corrupt and, getting bribes and stuff like that, but I'm not going to speculate. Well, I don't want to be all conspiracy theorist about this. These companies do need to be put in check. They absolutely do. They're not taking responsibility for their stuff up, and they're not helping the people who are relying on them and the small creators who are relying on them for their income. I guarantee you that Google and YouTube are not going to make any sort of recompense to me for what I've just gone through. It was very stressful, but they're not going to do anything. Keep in mind too, these giant tech companies are also not paying their fair tax. This is another questionable thing. A lot of these companies are paying less than 5% of their income as tax. The way it works is, I'm just going to display it on the screen because I couldn't be bothered memorizing the numbers, but if a company makes $10 million of income, they will say, oh, most of that went to running expenses. We only made $1 million of profitable income or taxable income. And then they only get taxed off that much. So if they make $10 million, they will only pay $100,000 in tax. Less, it's a tiny portion of it. And this happens all across the board in so many different countries and across so many of these different tech companies.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Now, I'm not just saying this because I want to complain. I want to make it very clear. There are so many social justice issues in the world, and I don't talk about them very much on my channel or on my personal Instagram, despite the fact that I care a lot about them. And while I do think it's important to talk about them in public spheres, I also think a lot of that care just goes in a circle online. If you talk about an issue, you'll only talk with other people who already care about that issue, and it just goes in a circle. What we need to do is move forward and take action. If you care about an issue, it's more important to approach your democratic representative and put pressure on them to make laws and to enforce changes in this area. So make phone calls, make emails, and then you can join organizations that are doing this as well and lend your support as well to that. You can go to protests. You can speak up and get organized. If an organization doesn't exist, make one. The point is, just talking about it isn't enough. If we want to actually fix social justice issues and start holding giant tech companies accountable for their business malpractice, we need to actually take action. But I just want to pass that on to you and encourage you to do with that what you will. Now, on a happy note, I want to end this with a couple of thanks. I need to thank a lot of people because a lot of people really showed up. When my channel got hacked and I started live streaming, I had a whole bunch of people reach out to me immediately on Instagram, on Patreon, on email. I really appreciate it. I don't think I replied to half of the people who did, but I saw it all. Everyone who took the time to do it, thank you very much. I also want to shout out my friend Arbor Winter Barrow. She's the author of the Kinetic series, fantastic sci-fi young adult series, which coincidentally, the 5th and final book of that series is coming out at the end of this year. It's a good time to start that series. Arbor took the time to send me a whole bunch of screenshots and information. She gave me the most information I had because, of course, all of this live streaming stuff happened while I was asleep because I'm Australian. It's just how it is. So thank you, Arbor, for that. I want to thank Philip Chase and John and the family from Talking Story. Both of these guys were very quick to respond and make public statements just to let people know what had happened. In fact, I can't believe it. I emailed Philip to be like, hey, my channel's been hacked. Can you just let people know? He replied within 3 minutes, and it made me break down and cry because I felt very alone and unsupported and very lost, and just knowing that someone was there was incredible. Both of them did a community post within the hour. I know the Talking Story team talked about it on their weekly video, and Philip Chase was happy enough to air the interview that he and I had done, which you can check out if you want, about my books. He talked about my channel hacking as well. So just those two guys just showed up for me, and I see it. This will not be forgotten. I also just want to shout out 2 patrons who just saw that my account had been hacked and then just went to Patreon and gave me some money. That's honestly really huge, and again, meant a lot to me. It was very practical and very, very useful. A big shout out as well to Daniel Green and his fiancée Kayla. The two of them reached out to me as well. Daniel, as you know, has 500,000 subscribers. He's got a bit more pull. He put me in contact with a YouTube representative as well. It ended up not being necessary, but honestly, the fact that he just heard about it and reached out to me unprompted means a lot. The guy showed up to protect the little guy, and that speaks well of his character for sure. I really do appreciate that. A rather random shout out is to Brian Lee Dufree. He's another YouTuber guy, and this is random because I've never actually spoken to him, but I'm aware that he's written a trilogy of books. And when this hacking of mine occurred. I was in the middle of the Dandelion Dynasty, and it's a little bit too grimdark and miserable for what I was going through, and I picked up Brian's books instead, and I had a wonderful time reading the first book, The Forgetting Moon. It's really good. It's like a classic high fantasy, but a bit more modernized as well. I had so much fun. That book literally kept me sane. You know, it gave me a wonderful distraction when I'm sitting there waiting for YouTube to reply. It was just the perfect book at the perfect time for me. Shout out to that guy for unintentionally helping me through this.
Okay, this is awkward, but I should actually thank my wife. I can't believe I've become one of those guys. Well, look, I thanked her in person, but just so you guys know what happened behind the scenes, my wife Kit was amazing during this crisis. She really stepped up, did everything she could to help me, and talked me down through several panicked moments. She also had to deal with me being less calm than I would like, a little bit short-tempered here and there, you know, and she just let me have it, which is good. Normally she doesn't let me get away with it, but she did because she knows it's a crisis. But she really was amazing and is the whole reason I'm still sane and still functioning. So she genuinely is amazing. She's my best friend and love of my life. All right, so just the thanks is there.
Well, I think that's everything. I'm going to go and edit and post this video now, and then I'm going to resume working on what I was originally going to do this week. And I'll be in touch. I've probably got another video coming out tomorrow. I was going to do a announcements video anyway, and I've got to do that separately. But keep an eye out. I've got more things to come, and I'm not going anywhere. All right? Thank you, everyone. Thank you for thank you for showing up. Is really what it is. YouTube can be a very isolating job. You work it alone, you know, it's just me talking to a camera a lot of the times, and, you know, it's all numbers, it's all words on a screen. There is very much a disconnect. And that's okay, you know, I'm okay with that. And yet, during this whole experience, I think it was the first time where I truly felt a sense of community, where people showed up, and we're all in this together, and no one's doing things alone. And that means a lot to me. That's all I've got. Well, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.